What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Like or Dislike, where I look at some of the latest games that drop. I give you a synopsis of the game, talk about the controls, mechanics, and let you know whether the game is worth picking up, whether it's worth spending your money on. And today we are looking at Sonic Frontiers. Now this brings our favorite blue hedgehog into an open world setting, and they honestly did a good job with this, but there are a few misses with the game. Now, this is an action-adventure game mixed with platforming, puzzle solving, and a few quick-time moments, all in an open-world setting, but with some side-scrolling gameplay mixed in as well. Now, story-wise, Sonic, Tails, Amy, and Knuckles are tracking down the Chaos Emeralds when they get trapped on several islands in cyberspace. Now, Sonic is able to break free and he has to rescue his friends while dealing with this mysterious girl and solving the mystery of these islands and what's really going on. Now you travel to each island collecting the Chaos Emeralds, collecting your friends' memories to bring them back, while fighting a decent variety of enemies and much more. Now you have access to cyberspace to get keys to unlock the gems. Now you get access to cyberspace by taking down the guardians that's all on the islands and the enemies around on the map. And each of the guardians fights differently, so you have to learn their patterns. Even the small enemies get stronger on each island and sometimes have new moves to learn how to counter. And that's one thing I did like about it. Each island did have certain enemies on it, but all of them had the same enemies, but as each island progressed they got stronger or they came up with different abilities, so you had to learn how to counter these new moves or how to fight them. Now when you get into cyberspace, this is where the old school feel Sonic shines. You have to complete these levels by collecting rings, getting the fastest time, and much more in iconic levels like the grassland and the chemical plants, and a mix of 2D and 3D gameplay. And with the music, those levels felt fun, felt fast. There were some where I was trying to get the best time in just to see how fast I can go collecting the rings. And one thing I liked about them is when you do runs, it counts for it. For instance, like you have to collect all the red rings. You don't have to collect them all in one run. As long as you collect them all, it counts towards them. So I definitely like that. Now, once you get all the gems, you have to become Super Sonic and defeat a giant Titan to move on to the next island. Now, the Titans themselves are impressive. They do fight hard, and they also have their own movesets, so you have to learn how to take them down. Now, being Super Sonic, you don't take damage, but it causes you rings, so you have to keep an eye on your ring count. On certain Titan fights, you're able to recollect rings, and some you can't, so you have to keep an eye on your rings, because as you take hits, it does cost you rings. Now, one really unique and fun thing about this game that I really like is you can learn new skills to create new attacks, which really come in handy. Now you have a mix of close and far range as well as parry and counter attacks, which make a big difference in any fight. And I really enjoy just mixing it up, using different moves and pulling off insane combos, and it was a lot of fun. Now you could also upgrade Sonic by increasing his speed, his attack and defense strength, and the amount of rings that he can hold, which can play a big part when you get onto the later islands, because the later islands, they definitely get much stronger, and those same moves does not cause as much damage unless you increase your attack. Just like when they hit you, you could lose more rings, but if you have your defense up, you'll lose less rings. So it definitely helps to keep Sonic upgraded as you play. Now, if you're having trouble getting the keys, resources to leveling up, getting memories for your friends, and etc., there's a fishing spot on every island. And you can play this little mini game, which is very funny and has iconic notes to the Sonic games. But you can use the credits that you do in this little fishing game to get what you needed. So if you're having trouble trying to get the vault keys you need, head to the fishing spot, play that a few times, you can get the vault keys you need. And I thought that was a great addition. It is very funny, very silly, but it definitely helps you when you're trying to get like those last minute resources you need. Now you can travel around on the islands, of course, running around in Sonic, but also platforming, riding rails, bouncing around in a mix of 2D, side-scrolling, and full camera move around. Now sometimes the camera will lock when you go a certain way, which can be annoying, and the only way to get out of it is like backing out of it. Now, graphic wise, the game looks great visually. Unfortunately, it can only go to 60 frames per second, which is a big letdown to me. I would have loved to play this game in at least 144, seeing how smooth it would be. Hopefully they will do that in the update, but I can't say. Now, it did skip and freeze frames a few times though, but it wasn't nothing game breaking, and the game never crashed, which is definitely a good thing. Now, the voice acting was very good, as well as a good story, with every character having a developing moment and using moments from the Sonic universe to hit the nostalgic button. Now, it took me roughly 20 hours to complete the main story, but there's still a lot of the side quests to do, which could probably add into probably another 5 or 10 hours, because you have memories collecting, solving mysteries on the islands, and so much more. And I've also tried it out on the Steam Deck, and I can say it's a go. At the time of recording this video, Steam says it's unsupported, but I installed it, just did a base install. I didn't play with no protons or nothing, just installed it, ran it, and it ran okay. The game runs fine, the controls work well. I can't say, you may see a slight difference in just how the game performs visually from going on a PC or a laptop to Steam Deck. I guess it was just a visual thing for me. Maybe just going from a larger screen to a smaller screen may have been a thing, but otherwise it plays great on the Steam Deck. So if you want to play on the go, you have that option. And that's pretty much a review of the game. So from that, we're going to look at the pros versus the cons. And starting off with the pros, the first thing we're going to look at is you have new attacks, and I thought that was a nice little change to it. Now, you can learn these attacks however you want to. You can pull them off however you want to. You can pull off your favorite attacks, which is what I liked and what I did a lot. And that definitely broke up the monotony of the game, doing it on different enemies. The next part we're going to look at is the music. The music on each map, on each island was different. The music fighting each boss was very intense, had you in the moment wanting you to fight, and I thought that was a great thing. The music really helped push along the story of this game, and I thought it was a great thing. And the last part we're going to look at, the game is overall fun. Whether you're platforming, collecting rings, taking down bosses, learning new moves, the game was overall fun. I definitely did have a great time from beginning to end of the game. And with the pros done, let's take a look at the cons. So the first con we're going to look at is the camera. Like I said before, with the camera locking when you go certain ways, it can become very annoying because you don't know when it's going to happen until you get to that certain area. And like I said, the only way to get out of the camera locking is to literally back out of it. So it can break that immersion of being in 3D where you can move the camera and then suddenly you're locked. Now, of course, when you play the cyberspace, certain areas are locked, which is where they want it to be, so you can play those parts. Now, next comment we're going to look at, the game can be very repetitive. Once you get to that third island, it pretty much becomes the same thing. Collect the Chaos Emeralds, collect the memories, fight the Titan, move on to the next island. Luckily, the game does not do it for so many times. You only have like 5 islands you do it on. But once you get to that third island, you get the hang of it. So it can feel a little repetitive at that point. But you'll know what you need to do. And the last comment we're going to look at is the platforming. If you're not a fan of platforming, if you're not a fan of timing your moves while platforming, this is not the game for you, because there are certain parts of the game where you have to platform to get to certain areas, to unlock certain things, to do certain things. So if you don't like platforming, if you're not a big fan of it, then this may not be the game for you. But that's pretty much the pros and cons. Overall, I have to give the game a like. I think they did, like I said, I think they did a good job with it being an open world setting. Like I said, I wish it wasn't locked at 60 frames. I wish it was more. I wish it was at least 144. I wish there was probably a little bit more variety of enemies to fight instead of just giving them different abilities on new islands. Like I said, certain islands only have certain enemies, which is good, but it does get repetitive from time to time. But overall, the game was good. I think the thing that kept me going the longest was just like the music and the story. 'Cause like I said, actually seeing the characters develop, realizing they had their own personal issues and they wanted to go above them and become a better person, I thought that was pretty good. And I actually felt a little bit sorry for Eggman, or Dr. Robotnik, however you want to call him. and you'll understand it if you play through the story. But that's pretty much it. Let me know how you guys feel below. As always, if you guys enjoyed the video, hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. I do reviews on other games like this. I do new games coming out every month. I'm doing more gaming news going on and so much more. Make sure to follow me on social media if you want to reach out to me, or if you want to see what I'm up to and doing, or if you just want to talk about gaming. I love talking about gaming. I may talk your head off. And as always, you can catch me streaming. I'll be on Twitch playing a variety of different games and just having fun. But this is Proto, and I'll catch you guys later.